Many thanks for joining us. You're watching QTV News and we're broadcasting live from our studios along Kairaba Avenue. I am Ansmane Sonyasi. Our headlines this evening: the Minister of Health has declared a national public health emergency following an outbreak of the polio virus from 2 environmental sewage samples in Banjul and Kotu. Today, the 18th August, is Ashura, a holiday for Muslims all over the world, celebrated on the 10th day of Muharram according to the Islamic calendar. The Vice President, Dr. Aissatou Touré, on Tuesday paid a visit to the Kanifing municipality as part of her nationwide tour to discuss tackling irregular migration and peaceful coexistence. In international news, this year marks the centenary of Alex Haley's birth, whose book titled Roots, The Saga of an American Family, propelled him to international recognition and also changed the way America views its own history. And in sports news, the Gambia's senior national football team coach, Tom Sanfied, has reacted to the draw of the AFCON 2021 in Cameroon, which was held on Tuesday in Yaoundé. We also hear from Scorpions forward Asan Sise. Well, stay tuned as we bring you more on these and other stories. Now, in line with international health regulations, the Minister of Health has declared a national health emergency following an outbreak of the polio virus from 2 environmental sewage samples in Banjul and Kotu, prompting plans for a massive vaccination of children against the disease. Mohd Lamin Choi reports.
The Health Minister, with his team of health experts, are updating the press about a disease the country last registered over 3 decades ago, the polio virus. The Health Minister, Dr. Ahmadul Amin Samate, reveals the presence of the polio virus type 2 in the country that was detected through environmental sewage sampling from Banjul and Kotu.
2 environmental samples collected from the sewage sites, one from Banjul and the other from Kotu, have tested positive for polio virus type 2. This has created a polio outbreak situation in the country, since a single positive polio virus case is considered an outbreak under the 2005 international health regulations.
The minister further states that evidence of sequencing results of the type 2 of the polio virus detected are genetically linked to those in other parts of the West Africa sub-region, including in Senegal, Mali and Guinea. Having detected the polio virus type 2 in the Gambia, the health minister declares the outbreak a national public health emergency.
It is important to note that this outbreak is an evidence of polio virus circulation within the population, but does not mean a detection of polio paralysis in the population. In line with the WHO recommendations, polio outbreak response standard operating procedures, and the International Health Regulations 2005, I officially declare this outbreak a national public health emergency.
To break the chain of circulation of the virus, the Ministry of Health plans a massive polio immunization campaign and the strengthening of surveillance systems to protect the population, particularly children between 0 and 59 months of age.
We are preparing for at least 2 massive supplementary polio vaccination rounds, targeting 382,908 children who are 0 to 59 months of age in each round. Our goal is to vaccinate all children 0 to 59 months in the Gambia. We implore all parents to cooperate with our vaccinators during the vaccination campaigns to enable us to end this outbreak soonest.
The polio virus detected in the country, as in other countries in the sub-region, is also known as vaccine-derived poliovirus. This is because the oral polio vaccine, which was developed and administered to children, contains live virus that is weakened so that it will prompt the body's immune response without causing paralysis. The vaccine is ingested and the weakened virus replicates in the child's gut, which is then excreted. We are advised to increase proper personal hygiene and environmental sanitation as preventive measures.
Hygiene is very, very important. Proper disposal of feces is very important. We've all seen what happens to feces in the community. when children pass stools and then how they are discarded. And so that's why hand washing is equally important in this, proper disposal of feces and the way the children are cleaned after, passing stools.
In areas with poor sanitation, weak surveillance systems and poor vaccination coverage, this excreted vaccine virus can mutate into severe strains that can spread to other children and cause serious health complications like paralysis. The last case of the wild polio virus was last detected in 1987 in the country. This was followed by the Gambia being declared polio virus-free by the World Health Organization in 2005. Mahmoud Lamin Choy, QTV News.
Now, today, the 18th August, is Ashura, a holy day for Muslims all over the world, celebrated on the 10th day of Muharram, according to the Islamic calendar. Our reporter Ajibintu Drame engaged Imam Aliu Badu Saho on the significance of the day and the tradition attached to it. Here's the report.
Mu doon weer boo xam ne nag lu bari daf ci xew ci li ñu jàng ci history bokk na ci li ci xew mooy ki ñu tuddee yonent Yàlla Aadama xam nañ ne moo yoon na boromam ci lekk garab gi.
It is a month when lots of events took place in history on the 10th day of Muharram. Among them is the day Allah forgave Adam when he ate the forbidden apple with his wife Hawa. Another event was that it was the day Prophet Yunus was returned to the seashore after being swallowed by a fish. By the commands of Allah, he spent 3 days in the fish's stomach. For some people, Allah made abundant blessing for them. Among them is Prophet Noah. During his time, he faced lots of difficulties for 950 years, calling and preaching people to embrace Islam, but he did not succeed. Then he prayed to Allah to destroy the world, and Allah accepted his prayers. He made an ark and put all those who believe in it. Then water started coming from the ground and the sky, and everything perished, except the ark and those in it. Furthermore, Prophet Musa, whom Allah commanded to convert Firaun into a believer, which Firaun refused to do. That was what eventually made Firaun hate Musa and wanted to kill him. He followed him into the river. By the command of Allah, Musa took his stick, placed it on the river, and the river split into two, creating a passage for Musa. Firaun saw the passage and entered. Because of his anger and greed, the river went back to the way it was, and that was the day Firaun died. That was on the 10th day of Muharram. Also, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, when he reached Medina Munawwar, he met the Jews who respected the 10th day of Muharram. Men, women, and children observed the day by fasting and praising Allah. The Prophet asked the Jews the reason, and they replied that it was the day their prophet Musa escaped from Firaun. Then Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said to the Jews that he would also do the same, although at that time Allah did not command the month of Ramadan. The Prophet stated that he would fast on the 9th and 10th day of Muharram. Unfortunately, the Prophet passed away before the next Muharram. So that is why it is sunnah to fast the 2 days. It's a tradition here that people pray during the night, because it is the beginning of a new year. Let us not forget that it was also the day the Prophet's grandson Hussein lost his life on the 10th day. We should remember that on this day, some were happy, others were saddened. As believers, we should remember that all his family members, anyone related to Prophet Muhammad, was killed on this day. So people preparing food and dinners on this day is a tradition and not sunnah. It is a day to pray and reflect.
Important history there and an important day for the Muslim Ummah. Now, the Vice President, Dr. Aissatou Toure, on Tuesday paid a visit to the Kanifing municipality as part of her nationwide tour to discuss tackling irregular migration and peaceful coexistence. Babukar Si has the rest of that story.
The Vice President, Dr. Aissatou Toure, is at the climax of her nationwide tour on the topic, as her office spearheads the National Coordination Mechanism work plan aimed at addressing migration issues. Welcoming the Vice President, the KMC's Lord Mayor Talib Ahmed Bensouda said his municipality is willing to support the government in the fight against illegal migration.
And we definitely want to make sure that we invest in them. They are born here, they work here, they're educated here, and they make it in the Gambia. So I think this is a very important topic, and we really appreciate the coming of the Vice President. but just to let her know that KMC stands a partner of the Gambia government, and we are ready and willing to collaborate on all issues in regard to the development of KM and the Gambia at large.
Other speakers included the Deputy Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Interior, who talked about return and reintegration of Gambian migrants and the need for peaceful coexistence in the society. The Minister of Gender, Children and Social Welfare, representatives from the Ministry of Agriculture all took part in the discussions on ways to help reintegrate returnees and the role we can play as a society to tackle irregular migration. For Claudiana Cole, the Minister of Basic and Secondary Education, the government is providing the necessary environment for the youth to excel.
I've heard the Tekefe slogan, which I'm in love with because one can stay here and be successful. We were born and raised here. We've done our school, graduated here, and are now serving our country. There are a lot of opportunities in the country, and the government is taking the lead to create the enabling environment for the youths to not only access jobs, but to create skill centers where one is trained and certified before going into the trade.
For the Minister of Youth and Sports, Bakari Baji, assures the gathering that the government is doing all it can to support its youth. Kemo Bojang, Youth Councillor, in delivering the vote of thanks, gives an assurance and sets out the need of the youth of KMC. We want to assure the Vice President that the youth of KMC are ready to work, but there are not enough jobs for the youth. And even if there are jobs in the country, the environment is not conducive. I want to take this opportunity on behalf of the youth to appeal to your government to increase the subvention of youth projects across the country. For the Vice President, Dr. Aïssatou Touré, the tour is supported by the Gambia government and the International Organization for Migration to meet stakeholders and leaders across the country to discuss and find a solution to irregular migration and peaceful coexistence.
Any individual that leaves the country and travels with proper documents, no one will disturb you while you are there. But every country has its laws governing them, just like the Gambia. We are not saying don't travel, but we want you all to use the right channels. Let's talk to our children to avoid risky journeys, because many people have perished in the high seas and their families cannot access their bodies.
The lack of access to employment opportunities among Gambian youth is widely cited as a major contributory factor to irregular migration. According to the 2018 Gambia Labour Force Survey, 95% of Gambian irregular migrants surveyed cited lack of work as their primary reason for migrating. Babu Karsi, QTV News.
And that report there by Babu Karsi will lead us to a short commercial break, but we'll be back in a moment.
Step into the future of television with sleek and slim design Samsung Smart TVs, ranging in size from 32 to 75 inches and in different technology. Smart LED, Crystal UHD, Ultra High Definition, and QLED Quantum Dot LED. Get new ways of interacting with your TV as our TVs offer an unparalleled vision adventure from the comfort of your living room. Ultra Viewing Angle, powerful picture quality, web browser, gallery, EarthNet LAN, wireless LAN built-in, Bluetooth, screen mirroring technology, mobile on TV mirroring, built-in voice assistance, Wi-Fi direct. Not only that, our TVs are backed with 12 months warranty and we are currently on a promotion. Contact us on 333-3217.
The best product in town is back. QCell's MiFi router. Get the best MiFi in the country for just $2,800 and connect up to 15 users with 4G internet speeds and a long-lasting battery life. So rush now to any of our customer care locations and get the best for less while stocks last. For more info, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Senior Boss, the Gambia's quality network. We innovate, others follow.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. Be reminded you're following QTV News, coming to you live from our studios along Kairaba Avenue with me, Ansmane Sonyase. Now, the Gambia joined the world to celebrate International Youth Day on 12 August. Our regional correspondent, Bakari Balde, spoke to young people in the Lower River region engaged in farming and business activities. Here's the report.
In the Gambia, youth face significant challenges with respect to employment, including the very difficult transition from school to work, and many having low levels of education and training that don't make them suitable candidates for employment. Aissatou Jammeh, who works at Rural Livelihood Enhancement Garden in Kian-Quinala, got her skills training at Gambia Songhai Initiative Center at Chairman in the North Bank region. She says the center do poultry farm, animal husbandry, and fruit trees planting. She narrated how helpful the poultry farm is to the community.
Sailea sol mimbijang, ala nafamu mindi, katun phosphor salo time, molla subo, abandebulu.
The layers we have here are very useful. After the Tobaski, there was no meat and fish was scarce in the market, so people come here to buy our chickens. We have okra, pepper, oranges, mangoes, and corn, and even sheep on this farm. I am advising unemployed youth to join us here. Let us all go back to the land.
Yahya Sane, an entrepreneur who has shop at Soma, says young people should make the best use of the available business opportunities and advises youth to be more productive as they are the cream of society.
As we all know, Gambians, many youths are not investing in business. Yeah, so our business sector is being dominated by foreigners. So I said, as a Gambian, then I think I should also play my part, or I should also play my role in development of our country. So that is why I also decided to venture into this kind of business. So as youth, we should not only say we will all be working at the office, but we can also invest into business.
Usman Sane, the regional youth chairperson for LRR, is the owner of Nyokota Rabbit and Poultry Farm in Jarasoma. He explained how he started his business and how it has grown.
I adventured into poultry farming sometime back in 2019. Along the line, I was in a program with Startup Incubator. So after the end of the mentoring and coaching, which lasted for 6 months, I was able to get support from GIZ through Startup Incubator. That is the Startup Enhancement Package, which is $50,000. So from that, the business has grown, and today we are able to make orders from Dakar to Gambia to be able to rear them and also sell them in the market. Basically, this is how we started, and alhamdulillah, we are still going very fine.
Usman further explained the achievements and the way his poultry farm serves as an educational center. He employs youths to venture into meaningful business and agriculture. According to the World Bank Group, nearly 60% of the poor in the Gambia are people under 20. As such, the Gambia, as in other nations, successful transformation of food system cannot be thoroughly achieved without the full participation of the young people. Therefore, to address this, youths need to be empowered and given opportunities to contribute. Reporting for QTV News, I am Bakari Balde.
And from the report by Bakari Balde, we will now take a look at international news. This year marks the centenary of Alex Haley's birth, the book that propelled him to international recognition and for which he won the Pulitzer Prize. Roots, the saga of an American family, not only put the Gambia on the literary map, but also changed the way America views its own history. Mahmoud Mboj has more.
His hometown of Henning in Tennessee, southeastern United States, marked the centenary by renovating the Alex Haley Museum located on the grounds of Haley's boyhood home. Republican U.S. Senator Lamar Alexander, who was friends with Haley and other local officials, attended the opening. A former Associated Press journalist, Lucas L. Johnson II, has also re-released this month a 2003 book entitled Finding the Good, in homage to Haley. The phrase Finding the Good was Haley's favorite phrase and his guiding mantra. The eldest of three brothers, Alex Haley was born in New York on 11th of August 1921 to a professor of agriculture father and a housewife mother. After graduating from university, Alex Haley served in the U.S. Coast Guard for 2 decades before pursuing careers in journalism and historical writing. In 1965, he published his first book, The Autobiography of Malcolm X, which he co-authored with the black nationalist leader, and sold 6 million copies in its first decade. In 1967, historian John William Ward wrote that it would become a classic American autobiography. In 1998, Time magazine named The Autobiography of Malcolm X as one of 10 required reading non-fiction books. In 1976, Haley published his most groundbreaking work, Roots, the Saga of an American Family, which became a runaway hit, winning in the following year a Pulitzer Prize and a National Book Award, a rare double. In the same year, the book was turned into a TV miniseries watched by a record-setting 130 million. The story is now quite familiar. It charts the lives of 6 generations of Haley's family, starting with his 18th century ancestor in the Gambia, Kunta Kinte, who is enslaved and transported to America. Haley unflinchingly portrays the dark intensity of the voyage and the horrors of plantation life, which has left an enduring print on our imagination. Indeed, his books are credited with not only introducing millions to black history, but also inspiring the genealogy boom. The popular BBC One program, Who Do You Think You Are?, is a direct heir of Haley's pioneering creations. Though his works have over the years been dogged by accusations of plagiarism and inauthenticity, many now acclaim him as one of the pioneers of creative non-fiction, or the non-fiction novel. Before Roots, according to one critic, leading black novelists such as Zora Neale Hurston, Richard Wright, Ralph Ellison, and James Baldwin had largely stuck to contemporary or recent past American subject matter. But after it, slavery in Africa was put on the agenda and would go on to influence such writers as Alice Walker and Toni Morrison, winner of the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1993. The now defunct International Roots Festival in this country could perhaps have been a much bigger cultural event with an appreciable commercial dividend, given the cultural and commercial reach of the book. But it's never too late. Alex Haley died in 1992, and his motto of finding the good in people and in situations is a fitting sentiment, particularly in these polarizing times, nationally and internationally. For QTV News, I'm Mamadou Mbouch.
Interesting report there. And I'm afraid we'll now take a look at sports from that wonderful report by Mamadou Mbouch. The Gambia senior national football team coach Tom Sanford has reacted to the draw of the AFCON 2021 in Cameroon, which was held on Tuesday in Yaoundé. Scorpions forward Hassan Cisse also shares his thoughts with QTV on the draw. Our sports reporter, Modu Gajaga, has more.
At the end of the night, Scorpions fans had looked forward to Gambia making their first finals appearance, found themselves drawn with familiar opponents and near neighbors Mauritania, making their second appearance, fellow West Africans Mali, who are appearing in the finals for the 12th time, finishing as runners-up in 1972, and group top seed Tunisia. The Tunisians will be making their 20th finals appearance and were winners in 2004. The Scorpions will open their Group F campaign against Mauritania in Limbe before facing Mali and Tunisia. Scorpions coach Tom Sanford, who witnessed the draw live in Yaoundé, says he is satisfied with the draw.
Yeah, I think we can be very satisfied with this draw. In AFCON, you know that all the teams are quality teams. There are no easy opponents. But if you make before the draw a wish list or a dream group, then this comes close to it. I think Tunisia is a strong team, but in pot one we're only strong teams. And with Mali and Mauritania, we have 2 teams I think we can be competitive against. So I'm very positive. We played the last years against strong opponents, Algeria, Morocco, Gabon, Angola, DRC, and many other games. We are always competitive, so we can be competitive also in this group.
Watching the draw from his base in Switzerland, Scorpions forward Hassan Cisse, who scored 3 of Gambia's 9 goals in the qualifiers, says the draw has been a fair one in his assessment.
The group, it was exciting, really. It was exciting seeing your country for the first time in this AFCON draw. So we are all happy that now we are going to another level. but now it's just focused on
the Africa Cup of Nations. With only 24 places available, the qualified teams unveiled after the campaign started in October 2019 and ended in June 2021 due to the one-year COVID-19 pandemic are now fixed on their opponents. Road to the final. The group stage will be played between January 9th to the 20th, 2022. The round of 16 will be between the 23rd of January to 26th January 2022. Quarterfinals, January 29th to 30th, 2022. The semi-finals, February 2nd to the 3rd, 2022. The third place match and the final, February 6th, 2022. Mamudu Gajaga, QTV News.
Well, we are all very optimistic and we look forward to a successful campaign in Cameroon. I'm afraid that is all the time permits, but before we take a leave of you, here's a recap of our main headlines. The Minister of Health has declared a national public health emergency following an outbreak of the polio virus from 2 environmental sewage samples in Banjul and Kotu. Today, the 18th August, is Ashura, a holiday for Muslims all over the world, celebrated on the 10th day of Muharram, according to the Islamic calendar. The Vice President, Dr. Aissatou Touré, Tuesday paid a visit to the Kanifing Municipal Council as part of her nationwide tour to discuss tackling irregular migration and peaceful coexistence. In international news, this year marks the centenary of Alex Haley's birth, whose book, titled Roots, The Saga of an American Family, propelled him to international recognition and also changed the way America views its own history. And in sports news, the Gambia senior national football team coach Tom Samphier has reacted to the draw of the AFCON 2021 in Cameroon, which was held on Tuesday in Yaoundé. We also heard from Scorpions forward Hassan Sise. Well, that's all about it, but do join us at 10 p.m. for another bulletin. Until then, on behalf of the entire production team, thanks for watching.